Great day, everyone, or great evening. This is Dr. AJ, the wifepreneur, helping you change the way you think, look, and feel about your marriage and sex. And um, I've been quite frustrated. I've seen some posts on Facebook about some disturbing things that I've seen that some wives had concerns about. With talking with friends, some issues they've been having, and I want to shed some light on four things that can break up a marriage. Actually, I like to call these four things marriage abortionist. That's how that's how bad I want you to take it in that severity. Abortionists. These can kill your marriage. And so I want you to be able to recognize these four things, especially if you've been married under 5 years. I want you to start recognizing, paying attention, and recognizing these things, and then nip it in the bud. Because if you can nip it in the bud, that means that you can have marital bliss. And a lot of times in marriages, on both sides, because everybody gotta take responsibility, that you wait too late, and by that time nobody wants to try to fix it. So I want to help you fix that. I've been in a successful marriage for 5 years now. To be honest, I have been married before, and these four things actually caused my marriage to break up. We are both good people. My ex-husband's a wonderful man. I was a wonderful woman. However, these things we really didn't really try to fix. I don't know if it was because we were younger and we were just starting to get our careers together, and we was mostly focused. We loved each other, we did, but I think we was more focused on other things that we didn't nurture a relationship. And your marriage has to be nurtured, just like anything else. If you don't nurture it, if you don't plant, if you don't develop it, it's going to wither and die. So let's have a conversation. Can we talk about marriage? I want to have a conversation with you guys. I want to help you, especially women. I want to help you to have the marriage that you always wanted. And there's nothing wrong with that. You can have the marriage that you desire. It takes some work. It's not just going to happen by accident. Even in the best marriages, it doesn't happen by accident. My parents have been married for 47 years. So they got 3 more years. So they've been married 50 years. And my aunts and uncles been married over 50 years, all of them. And it took work. They knew they were for each other. They were soulmates, but it's not always going to be roses all the time. You're going to have to water the grass. You want your grass to be beautiful and nicely, and the landscape nice. Especially if you're a homeowner, you want your landscape to be nice. You want it to be presentable when people pass your house. Well, you got to take care of it. It's just not going to happen by accident, right? And so you're going to have to do the same thing for your marriage. So let's talk about the first thing, because 50% of marriages end up in divorce. There's three reasons: communication, finances, and sex. So we're going to talk about those issues in those four marriage abortionist um, items. So the first one is communication, lack of communication, rather. Nobody's a mind reader. You have to communicate. You have to say what is on your heart and your mind. Because if not, things won't get solved. You can't beat around the bush. You need to be honest. And sometimes honesty is going to hurt. That's just the reality of it. You can't get you there's no way to avoid it, because if you hide it and don't say what you really mean and what you really want, it's going to come out in your actions, and then the person is going to be hurt more. So you might as well sit down, have a conversation, and sometimes it's a hard conversation, and say what you need or want. Now, there's nothing wrong with coming in and saying, "Hey, how you doing? How was your day?" Ask how your spouse's day was, or they should ask you how ask him how his day was. It's not. Is it going to take anything from your life for doing that? No. And so you need to communicate about the things you want. Okay. Number 2, don't take your spouse for granted. That means, really, if you haven't sit down and talked about it, you shouldn't go into the marriage with any expectations. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna be honest with you. You should only have expectations if you sit down and talked about things. So if you went to premarital counseling, or you sat there and you actually asked each other some hard questions, some hard, heartfelt questions about things that you would like to happen as far as finances and raising children, where you want to live, um, your credit score, crazy baby mamas, things of that nature. You have to take the responsibility for that. And so when you go into it, you talked about what you expect. There's nothing hidden. There's nothing hidden. There's no hidden agenda, because you've already said to your spouse what you expected from them as being your significant other and what they expected out of you. And a lot of times we take people for granted because either we don't know, we go in with preconceived expectations from other people. It's not necessarily from talking to our significant others, from what we've either seen on TV, what we've had in our personal experience with either family members or our parents. And so we bring it into the marriage. Can't do that. Now, I want to let you know that everybody has baggage. We know that. And don't lie and say you don't have baggage. Everybody has baggage. It's really about, are you able to handle the other person's baggage to see if you're going to be successful in that marriage or not. You're going to bring some baggage. There's baggage from the past. Now, it might not be necessarily from another romantic relationship. It might be from other relationships and other experiences that the person may have in their life that developed them to be the person that they are. And so you need to not take them for granted, and you need to appreciate them, which I mean, you say thank you for some things, even some small things. Okay, for example, if your wife agreed to, um, let's see, if your wife agreed to cut the front of the grass. Now, most women, I say some women I know, I won't say most, some people, women I know don't cut the grass. Me, I'm not the type that's going to cut the grass. I don't like doing the outside work. Now, I'll do whatever I need to do inside. I don't want to do the outside work. So I agreed. I agreed to cut the grass for front of my grass for my husband. I said I'll cut it. Now, I agreed to it, so he didn't necessarily have to thank you, but he know that's out the ordinary. So he says, "Oh, babe, the grass looks nice. Thank you." Or, for your husband, he takes out the trash all the time, but you can just say, "You know what, honey, I really appreciate you taking out the trash." Now, we did a lot of stuff this week. We had that big party, and I know it was a lot of trash we had to take out, but I want to really thank you for taking out the trash. Or say, um uh, about if your husband cutting the grass, going back to cutting the grass, tell him how nice the grass look. Or if you fix something, say, "Oh, you did a really good job fixing something." Okay, we know that was part of his responsibilities. Okay, you know that, but still, you want to show your spouse that you appreciate them. Why? Because this what may happen. They're going to start looking the other way, and that's going to cause a problem in your marriage, because that means a third party has been brought into the marriage, and we don't want infidelity. We're trying to have strong, great marriages. Number 3, lack of affection. Intimacy. Now, I'm not necessarily talking about sex, even though sex is important, but I'm not just talking about sex. I'm talking about taking time to spend time with each other without everybody else in the mix, without, parents, without friends, without even our children, because your children can get in the way of you spending time together. Now, I have small children, so sometimes if it's not feasible for us to get a babysitter, or our babysitter is not available, Then we spend time with each other when the kids go to sleep. So we may have them go to sleep. Maybe use my kids go to sleep about 10:30. Yeah, send them put the kids to sleep because they're under 5 about before 9 o'clock, and we spend time. We may my husband like to watch Mike Epps, so we may watch Mike Epps, have a glass of wine, white watch Mike Epps, or something that we taped at the beginning of the week that we didn't get the chance to watch. We'll sit there watch together and actually discuss the show. And so I have a real nice dialogue. We'll cuddle up. We may kiss and we hold hands. But you need that time. You need that time to show that keeps you connected. That affection keeps you emotionally connected and physically connected. You should rub and kiss. Now, I want to say this, women. Initiate the touching. He doesn't always have to initiate it. You initiate it. Aren't you to the point that you're tired of having a sexless marriage? You know, there's over 252,000 people are married couples that are not having sex. That's ridiculous. There's a lot of evil and mean people. Sex helps de-stress. So have sex. Have lots of it. We are sexual creatures. The vehicle for us to have lots of sex is in marriage. So why not have it? Now, if you're not having any physical problems, and if there's no infidelity going on, then you and your spouse should be having sex. So you guys need to make time. That means if you have children, yes, you schedule the time to do it. Schedule the time. Because sometimes, lack of intimacy could be caused because it's so the right word will be habitual. So we do it at the same time. We're gonna do it at the same place. Or we're gonna we only do it on special occasions. We don't ever do it on spontaneous. Be spontaneous. Or you can have lack of affection because there's some real issues going on now. You have to be willing to have that conversation. So I'm gonna give you a tip. To be able to start that conversation and say, hey, you may not be satisfied or may be bored, or you don't somewhat like to kiss, maybe because maybe their breath, something's wrong with their breath or whatever, which can happen. Then you do a nice gesture, have a nice gift. And so if you have a nice gift, that will take the edge off. If that takes the edge off, then you're able to have that conversation. Now, it's a hard conversation. Sometimes the conversation hurts. But if you are focused on wanting to win in your marriage, especially in the intimacy division, then you need to have that conversation and you need to do what it takes. And you need to be having sex at least. I'm being very generous, once a month. But it should be more than that. It should be doing at least 2 to 3 times a month. Now, I know sometimes with you working on careers, sometimes finances can get in the way. You're not thinking about it, even with having children. But you need to have time together, because if not, you'll be feeling sexually neglected, and then you go looking in all the wrong places for what you need from your spouse. So take care of that part of him or her. But women start initiating that intimacy or affection. And then number 4, you need to date. You need to date. You need to date at least once a month. Now I'm being very generous. You should be doing it more out the month. But if you can't do it once out a month. Schedule time, get a babysitter in advance, and say, hey, this is a night that we're going to dedicate to us, because we need to celebrate us. Because in a marriage, you can get lost. Your identities can get lost, and then you can get lost in the marriage with taking care of the actual household and children, and making sure the household in general is taken care of, and don't really nurture the relationship. And everything has to be nurtured. Everything has to be taken care of in order for it to blossom, because if you don't, it's going to wither and die. So I'm glad that I was able to help you tonight to beware of the 4 marriage abortionists. Please leave me your comments, positive, respectful comments. Keep following me and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Follow me on Facebook, follow me on Twitter, Periscope, and Instagram. You can also read my and subscribe to my blog, www.themetamorphosis.info. I'm glad that I was able to help you on your journey to marital bliss. I pray for good fortune in everything that you do and for your good health, that your everyday affairs prospers as well as your soul. Have a wonderful evening. Bye bye.